Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Top Player Privilege. This is Viva Lemu, post the big deal, and now heavily into the ITL 25 grind. So, what happened with the big deal, and why didn't I create any videos? So, I ended up playing a little bit of DDR with Poyox and at home, and I started realizing very early on after that first video that, oh, well, if I am playing and competing in what is probably the biggest DDR tournament in a while, then me half learning or learning pretty well the subset of songs that I wanted to, or like some of the gimmicky ones that I had originally planned on, then I really wouldn't get to quite the level I wanted to, meaning I was seeded 11th, and the players of that caliber know the songs well as DDR players, so anyone I'd be playing in that bracket is going to have good timing, be consistent, they're DDR players. I'm just coming in here as a passerby and hoping to, luck my way into songs I know. So I kind of just YOLO'd my mentality there and tried to pick the hardest songs possible. And for both my matches, I left 18s willy-nilly in there, and Paranoia Boy picked Paranoia Revolution Challenge against me as the protect. So, I mean, that was expected, knowing Paranoia Boy having to play a Paranoia song, but it was really funny to beat him on it while using my bracketing form, which much easier on DDR pads than ITG now that leveledness and tech are a thing, and it's just you can't bracket on flush pads anymore. The timing bracketing, you'll just trigger everything. But side tangent aside, the big deal just became a YOLO event, and as expected I went 0-2, but at least I won a song in each match, so that was a plus. But anyways, moving on to the real discussion I want to talk about today is really ITL season. And with the big deal ending, I've seen a lot of DDR players want to use this opportunity to play ITG again and improve their skill sets as they, make their way into the fall DDR season before Mistake on the Lake. And definitely nothing wrong with that. Using ITG to get better at DDR, I wholeheartedly approve of. And I definitely use DDR to hone in some of the skill sets that I'm bad at ITG sometimes, just to humble myself. So cross-training is a good thing, and I mean, I would also recommend including pump in that mix, but I know some people are very apprehensive to that idea, so I'll just leave it at. So as we make our way into ITL season, it's very important to keep healthy mentalities here, and I know these discussions happen all the time, but important to refresh on that and discuss those as they come up. So this is, 3-month event, and we're 2.5 weeks in now, so or about to be 3 weeks. Wow. Vacation did a number on me. Anyways, 3 weeks in now, and at this point I'd say probably most people have a good chunk of unlocks and are starting to get into their general ranges of point values for RP. I know if you're not playing super actively or you just started, then you're just starting the grind, and probably another 2 or 3 weeks before that statement is accurate. But regardless, we're starting to see the general top X players reach their points that they normally do, and then in the next few weeks there should start being the refining of RP and these harder songs that people are having issues with that they want to improve on. So as we make our way into this grind period, I definitely want to talk about mentalities here, as they are very important, especially at this stage. So at this point, a lot of us will start fighting ourselves, thinking maybe we should have better scores, our pads are doing bad, we're playing bad, etc. We have a lot of subconscious infighting, or maybe just conscious infighting with ourselves, that really starts to slow our progress down. If we want to improve, we need to want to improve unconditionally. So we need to throw away all excuses, anything that is a negative mentality here. We can have negative mentalities, we just can't fester on them. Once we cultivate a more positive mentality for ourselves, net positive really, as long as we're net positive, we'll continue to make gains. So, for example, like, there's so many charts I'm bad at this ITL, especially once we start getting to the hard 13 plus range. And my stamina is still definitely not up to snuff compared to the stamina goats. So watching Pocho, Rinker, Rob all do this 15, 16 grinding, I'm just like, oh, great. It's going to be an upward hill battle for me. But at the same time, that's really where the fun begins. Challenging yourself for overall improvement is so satisfying. Personally, if I'm not given reason to grind for Quince, I don't find satisfaction in doing that because I know I can do that with enough grinding. So I really just do it to prove points that Quince are doable by a lot of different people. I feel like if I'm grinding a song for more than, say, 15 or 20 minutes straight, that better be a song I'm actively bad at skill set wise, because if it's just for raw timing, then how is that making me better at the game? And ultimately, I think if you have the stamina to do everything, timing just generally becomes so much easier, and as you can infinitely grind everything at the lower levels because you can now play harder stuff all the time, timing just becomes nonchalant. You don't actively have to think about the conscious hitting a fantastic every single step. And it becomes more subconscious until you start having like the actual like really hard rhythms or patterns that you have to actively start thinking about to hit. So I don't want to get too ranty with too long of a video, so I'll end this one for here, and as we make our way into the mid-season, maybe create another video. And going to Be Hot Ball next week, I will definitely be getting a couple interviews as well, similar to the Poyox one, to give their insights over the ITL season, their impressions, and how they think things will end up. So thank you for tuning in. If you liked the video or found it insightful in any way, feel free to comment and like it. Otherwise, see you next time.